I had no idea what I was getting myself into. This was about to be probably the craziest 24 hours of my life, and I just did not realize it. A while back, I tried something absolutely ridiculous, which was filming 52 YouTube videos in less than 24 hours. That's right, a whole year's worth of content publishing once a week in 24 hours or less. Was this a genius plan or was it absolutely stupid? Well, to be honest, it was a little bit of both. And in this video, I want to share with you my complete experience, some of the worst things that came out of this, but then I also want to explain to you why you have to try it yourself. Let's get into it. So the idea behind this challenge was that I was going to start a brand new YouTube channel. It was going to be sort of a test channel that we could talk about on our channel here at Channel Makers. We wanted to be able to figure out, what is the best way to grow a channel. And when it comes to growing a YouTube channel, we know that publishing a lot in the early days and learning and growing on YouTube is really, really important. You need to get better. And so we thought to ourselves, what if we tried publishing or filming at least a year's worth of videos in one day so that you could essentially batch all that content and then just drip it out over time. We also really wanted to test how passive YouTube could be. Could you realistically do this successfully and then continue to grow your channel? So that was the whole premise of this experiment. And I was really, really curious to find out how it would go because, to tell you the truth, this was sort of my introduction to YouTube. I had been on a few YouTube videos here or there with Income School and Channel Makers, but I didn't have all that much experience on camera. And so I have to admit, I was incredibly nervous. So leading up to this big 24-hour period, we did a lot of prep. I did a ton of prep on the videos that I was going to film. I was planning on launching an outdoor cooking YouTube channel that was going to complement a website that we had. And so what I did is I got a spreadsheet and I came up with 52 video ideas. And in that spreadsheet, I had my ideas and then I had some sort of bullet style outline that I was going to work off of for this challenge. Now, if you do the math, I believe that in order to film 52 videos in exactly 24 hours, it's like 27 or 28 minutes per video. So I knew going into the filming, I had to be very prepared. And I knew that the ideas that I was going to be filming had to be pretty concise and compact so that I could actually reach the goal. And now remember, 27 or 28 minutes per video. That doesn't give a lot of time for problems to arise or prep or anything like that. We're gonna get to that a little bit later. So I got my spreadsheet, I had all my ideas planned out, I got some product that I was going to do testing on, I was gonna do some cooking, I was gonna show some food, I got everything prepared before the day of. Now, something else that I have to say is that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. This was about to be probably the craziest 24 hours of my life, and I just did not realize it. So this challenge, I think we started maybe at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I say we, there was a couple other of us doing this challenge as well. We started really early in the morning so that we could essentially go all day and then into the next night. That was the plan. So I think 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning got started. Now, since I was doing an outdoor cooking channel, all of my stuff was outside. So I had some lights set up, I had like a tent shade cover set up for when it did get sunny. I was ready to go. I was super excited, really pumped up, probably some caffeine in there, made a little bit of a difference. But I got started and I just started filming. I started knocking out videos. At first it was a little bit difficult because, like I said, I didn't have that much experience, but all of these videos had to be filmed pretty quickly. So I got into a rhythm pretty quickly. Now, so the first thing that you have to realize when you're filming this much content, and this is something I didn't even have to think about too much, Ricky, who you guys probably know, had to think a lot about this, but our file management on this day was absolutely insane. So you can imagine you film 52 videos on a camera like we're using, like a regular camera, it's gonna produce really large files. And so every 2 or 3 videos, we had to offload all of these video files onto an external hard drive, and it was probably terabytes and terabytes of footage filmed in one day. And so I was in a groove, I was filming a couple videos, getting the footage offloaded, filming a couple more, getting the footage offloaded, and that probably went on for 15 or 20 videos. The sun came up, feeling energy, feeling really good, but around video probably 20, things started to take a little bit of a turn. By video 20, I was absolutely losing my voice. I could barely talk, and that was really scary because I knew that I had more than double the number of videos that I had already filmed in front of me than I had behind me. And so I was like trying to do everything that I could to conserve my voice, but still have good energy on camera. And the reality is I could tell the videos from the videos that I filmed earlier on to the videos that I filmed a little bit later, you could tell that I was really struggling vocally. My vocal inflections weren't as good. My energy was a little bit lower. You could tell that things were slowing down a little bit. The adrenaline had kind of worn off at this point, and we were just in the midst of it. I was just going and going and going. And speaking of vocals, you want to know the one thing that I wish I had for my videos in this challenge? It was okay, I've always wanted to do that, so I apologize, but I'm serious. Great music makes better content every single time. And let me tell you, the videos that I made in my 52-24 challenge really needed all the extra help that they could have got. And I think some of these types of tracks could have made a huge difference. And thanks to today's sponsor, Lickd, you can also license and use mainstream tracks in your content to make it better. And a little secret for you, Lickd's actually giving you guys an exclusive offer as part of this deal, so keep watching so you can find out more. A couple things you need to know about Lickd. Number one, they have a ginormous catalog of tracks. They have over 1.4 million mainstream tracks from artists like Bruno Mars, Dua Lipa, Sabrina Carpenter, Green Day, and tons more, making their catalog over 10 times larger than any other licensing platform. Not only that, they also have tens of thousands of stock music tracks that you can use just for those times where you need some background music, a little more chill vibes. And probably most importantly, you can upload with confidence. Lickd takes care of copyright claims even before you publish. They really make it so easy. All you have to do is sign up for Lickd, download the track, put it in your content. When you go to upload your video, you upload with attribution, you set your video as unlisted. Lickd will make sure that there's no copyright claims, and then you can go ahead and publish your video as easy as that. And on top of it all, Lickd has done their homework. They've done research and studies that shows recognizable music does increase views, watch time, and engagement. You can literally double your views with recognizable music. It's awesome. Think of it sort of as like a good thumbnail and title. That's gonna get someone to click, right? Well, utilizing recognizable music in your content will help your content stand out, keeping people watching and getting YouTube to show your content to even more people. So if you want to take your videos to the next level, go check out Lickd. We've got an exclusive offer. Check out the link below to find out exactly what it is. I can guarantee you, you're not going to want to pass this up. This is one of the best deals I've seen from Lickd ever. You can use mainstream music from famous artists and unlimited stock music. Thanks Lickd for sponsoring today. Now back to the video. And so the videos ended up falling a little bit flat. Now, you have to realize the type of video that I was filming would not necessarily work for every type of channel. It's worked well for many channels that we've grown before, but it wouldn't work for every channel. And these videos were pretty much one take, maybe a couple different scenes or shots throughout, but they were pretty simple videos to begin with. Now, add the layer on top where my voice is going out, my energy isn't great, and things are just kind of slowing down, you can imagine that the videos started to fall pretty flat. Now, there were still some that worked out, and I would just kind of get second wins, you know, a little bit of Red Bull, 5-hour energy, whatever it was, and it would help a little bit, and I could kind of get back up on top, but there were still some things like my voice that I was just not ever going to get back for the rest of the day, and that made it really difficult. The next thing that I think really went wrong during the day that I noticed earlier on, but more as I had ideas that were a little bit more in depth, there was a lot of supporting shots that I wanted to get. One of the videos example that I'll do is I was doing a video about coolers. I had 4 or 5, maybe 6 different like ice chest coolers for camping, and I had bought blocks of ice, and I was gonna test, you know, how many hours these chests would keep the ice cold. And so I think about that video like, what kind of cool testing could I do? Number one, that's a great video, right? 6 different coolers, 6 different tests going on, seeing which one's gonna last the longest, so I can definitively tell the viewer which one is better, and then comparing price and all that different stuff. So as far as supporting shots go, it would have been awesome if like every 2 hours or something, I could have done a check-in. But the reality was the way that I had planned it all out was to hit that video maybe like 6 or 7 hours into the day, and maybe even a little bit later so that I could have more time testing with the ice. But I would have loved to check in every now and then and to see, like maybe weigh the ice every 2 hours to see how much was left. Little things like that would have made all my videos a lot better. And getting the supporting shots just the way that everything was so rigid in the time structure, I just wasn't able to do that. Now, with a little bit of better planning, I think that I could have. And again, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, what I would do differently. But that was something that made it a little bit difficult. Now, it got to the point where I was sort of in the final stretch. Now, I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. I did not hit 52 videos in this 24-hour period. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, it was windy outside. And so I realized it was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 p.m. I had been going, 12, maybe even more hours at this point. And as it got darker, it was very, very windy.
I mean, it's just kind of your run-of-the-mill on the stainless steel background here. The handle is metal, which is nice.
And so I started realizing that I was losing audio. My audio wasn't good. There was a couple videos that I shot where my camera had been too tilted down. And so I had to reshoot some things and go back and redo a couple things. And so it was getting to the point where the file management was getting a little bit crazy. Batteries, camera batteries, you can imagine that after filming for so long and I'm outside, the camera's overheating, I'm running out of batteries, I don't have enough charge or things like that. It just started kind of falling apart and really started falling apart maybe 10, 11, 12 that next night. So again, you can think from 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m., 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're so many hours into this at this point. And it got to the point where we sort of just said, you know what? Let's just call it. The weather conditions aren't good enough. It's dark. You can't really see that well. We just know that the content isn't going to be nearly good enough to publish at all. And so I called it. I think I ended up with maybe 38, maybe 40 videos. But there was a lot of good things to this day as well. I would definitely not consider it to be a waste. Even though there was a lot of things that went wrong, even though there was a lot of things that I would have liked to do to improve the content, there were so many valuable lessons I took away. And the reason why I want to talk about those now, aside from the actual story, I wanted to share some of the good things during the story, but mostly the problems, because the takeaways have really come after. I've been able to look back on that experience and really decide and understand for myself what that did for me. And number one, I realized, from a positive standpoint, batching content is incredibly powerful. As someone who's been doing YouTube for quite a few years now and has been doing content for even longer on the internet, batching content is such a great thing. It's such a great tool for creators to use. Not only can it help you be more efficient, more effective, it can also help you avoid creator burnout. There are so many valuable reasons to do batching. I think about, you can batch ideation, you can batch coming up with video ideas, you can also batch your outlining and scripting. You can batch your filming. I've never actually tried batching editing, but I'd be curious to know if that could work. Maybe if any of you have tried that, I'd love to know. All of these things that you can batch, you can work through them so much more effectively and efficiently than if you're task switching all the time. And so that's number one. I think that from a creator burnout standpoint, if you can batch and get ahead a little bit and relieve some of that pressure that you have to publish, every day or every week or every month, whatever your schedule is, that makes all the difference. One of the second things that I took away from this is that planning is so crucial. I talked about how I, planned my outlines a little bit and we sort of planned some of the details throughout the day. I would have probably liked to double or triple or even quadruple the level of planning that I did that day. I would have liked to plan out some of the extra shots. I would have tried to structure the content a little bit better so that I could, get some shots early on, get some shots later on. I would have loved to plan the titles and thumbnails a little bit on the front end so I could know how are we going to market these videos. Planning when it comes to batching is everything. I mentioned the file management and the battery management. That was something that, to be completely honest, I didn't think much about because Ricky took care of it. But you can imagine, if I went in planning to do that many videos in a day and did not have any plan for file management, I'd be really, really in trouble. This computer that I have in front of me, I just checked. I was like, well, what if I try to do this today? My computer has 20 gigs of space available. I would not have been able to hit this goal at all. I probably would have filmed 1 or 2 videos and realized I didn't have enough space on my computer. So that is such a big deal. The planning is huge. Next up is that quantity isn't always better than quality. You guys all know that. Sometimes you really do need to put a little bit of a better focus on quality. When I say that every one of you needs to try this, you need to try to batch content like I did, I'm not saying that you need to do 52 videos in 24 hours. But what I am saying is that this exercise that I tried made a world of difference as I kind of came into the YouTube world and got more comfortable on camera. There's something about the rapid repetition that just can't be replicated through other forms of practice. If you're publishing once a week, it's going to take you 52 weeks in order to get 52 practices in. If you do 52 videos in a day, you essentially get a vast majority of that practice in less than 24 hours. Now, yes, it's not perfect. It's not apples to apples. I get that, or oranges to orange. It's apples to oranges. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect comparison, but you realize that you can work through and iterate so much faster. You know, there was one video earlier on, I was like, I don't like the way that I said that. I don't like the way that my face was or my framing in camera. I could change it. The very next video, 10 minutes later, I could change it. I could make an improvement. And that rapid improvement helped my confidence on camera improve immensely. And so I would highly recommend it just for that reason. Now, what does a more doable scenario look like? Could you try 5 videos in a day? Or what about this? Rather than trying to batch record 5 complete videos in a day, what if you went out and got B-roll for 5 videos that you're working on? And you might say to yourself, well, I'm only working on 1 video right now. Okay, well, what if you start working on 2 or 3 videos at the same time, and then every day you sit down and you do some sort of batching, whether it's the ideation, whether it's the planning and scripting, whether it's the filming. You can go and make a small challenge for yourself that still gives you the benefit of batching. It doesn't have to be so large and so huge. Now, that said, for some of your channels, this would work. You could totally do a challenge like this. It would be very hard. I was incredibly tired at the end of this. I remember getting home at like 3 or 4 a.m. and just like crashing, completely crashing out for the next day or two. It was a huge, huge, huge energy draw. But again, so much value there. Most importantly, out of all of this, I had a ton of fun doing it. This is something that I will never forget, and I will always, I think, speak fondly of it because I think that I learned so much more. There was, in my view, so much more positive that came out of it than negative. Even though, like, to this day, you want to hear something really sad? The videos never got published. And that kind of goes back to the planning part. 52 videos takes a lot of editing. And to be honest, not a lot of the editing got done. And so this really just turned out to be a huge filming experiment. It turned out to be a ginormous filming experiment because we were doing this for like 5 different channels. And so we ended up with 52-ish times 5 videos. You can imagine that that was a huge time commitment, a huge cost, a huge everything, all for the sake of YouTube growth and education. We want to do things like this so that we can share them with you guys. So overall, what I recommend it 100%, you should batch your content. Even if you don't do it normally, you don't have to do it all the time, but just try, just practice so that you can know if it's something that could work for you. I find that there are certain parts of my workflow that I always batch because it works so well. I also find that some other parts of my workflow, it just doesn't work as well. So should you do a 52-24? That's up to you. Should you batch your content and set a specific goal for yourself in a day to get something done that is incredible outside of what you would normally do? 100% yes. Push yourself, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I know that you can succeed on YouTube, but it's not easy. And the faster you can iterate, the more you can learn, the better off you'll be. If you need a little extra help planning your channel and figuring out how you're going to get to success in 2025, check out this video here. We walk through our entire system, or if you are ready to go, you're hands-on, we actually dropped a 30-day free course. We've never done this before. 30-day free course. Link is in the description. You can sign up completely free, get a lesson every day for 30 days that is going to kickstart your channel to success. Thanks for being here, channel makers. We'll see you next time.